morning, giving no warning. I shoot the fire on the Claiborne Bridge. It'd be a long time talking about the things I did. Here all that morning. See, I remember that morning, and I remember well. See, I walked with the big chief, but I gave him that.
For me, being in New Orleans and living here now, I was glad for them to see this whole collection of what Louisiana culture is all about in one place, because it's hard to see all those cultural elements in one time. Gumbo Jubilee, first of all, started out because gumbo is a dish that you will find across the African diaspora. Jubilee is a celebration, and also I honor DJ Jubilee, who is one of the pioneers for bounce music in New Orleans. Bounce music is a music genre that's unique to New Orleans. It came out of New Orleans. It was birthed in New Orleans. I mean, we've seen the band, we've seen Indians, but I think just to see, for me, I wanted them to see that moment. And then I wanted them to also see this whole cow, because for me, that cow was a labor of love. Like through my journey of cooking barbecue, I have cooked every animal in the American South, but the cow was the one that I have not. And cook it with a technique that was passed down, I have learned over the years that it's tried and true. To be able to lead a group of people in cooking this dish, but it was more important for me to cook it with a team of people because I wanted them to share into their experience. I wanted them to add to their own signature on this because it's important to work together. Gumbo Jubilee was, for me, in a way, like a family reunion for people all across America to come back to the South. It was the last piece of this barbecue journey for me. I wanted people to see what American barbecue was, and that confirmed it. They said the barbecue was of the whole roasted cow was the best barbecue you could have.
I don't know, this will be my first time tasting what a barbecue whole cow looked like. This is what the history books say. See if it's as sweet as meat.
And when I tasted it, I realized what it was, and it made sense. And what I would simply describe it as eating every part of any steak you could get at any given time in 1 or 2 bites. The literature said they cook cows in the exact same manner as we cook pigs. I came up with how to design this pit because I knew handling anywhere from 300 pounds on up, we wasn't gonna be able to touch this meat once we start cooking it. Also, I wanted to be able to rotate the animal fairly easily throughout the cooking process because I knew I needed to rotate it several times throughout. I considered the turning radius of the width of the cow when laid upon the pit, and when I rotated over, I knew it had to be able to clear that distance around the ashes and also fit within the existing pit structure I had. On paper, I knew the math to rotate the cow, but actually building this thing is where my father got involved at. So one weekend I went to South Carolina. He started building a rack to hold the cow, because we basically sandwiched the cow together. He built the frame of the pit walls, I would say, but what we didn't build was how you actually rotate it. And when I was home that weekend, that's when we finished putting that together. We tested out the rotation beforehand, so we knew it would rotate. I wanted to test the rotation mechanism to approximate that kind of weight. So I took 4 tractor weights off the front of a tractor, and we put 1 in each corner of the cage, and we rotated to simulate the cow's weight. He took the whole pit apart except for the part we had the cow sandwich in. He drove it down on the back of a pickup truck. When the pit got here, we had to reassemble the whole pit from ground up. And at that time, that was just, it went back together how he built it in South Carolina. And just to see it all come together in one piece, it was huge. I was hoping the cow was gonna fit. My farmer was hoping we had something to hold the cow, because he's like, maybe I should have bought a smaller cow. These farmers went through a whole lot for me to get this whole cow. Ben Burkett, he's over a co-op, Indian Springs Co-op in Mississippi. It's been around for a long time. And he's probably one of the first farmers in the country to start these farming co-ops with black farmers. Just want to introduce you all to Mr. Ben Burkett from the Indian Springs Co-op. They really worked hard. They went out in the trenches to help me find this cow.
And find someone
and process this
That's
cow.
the problem.
You've been an advocate for black farmers for a long time.
35 years.
35 years, multi-generational farmer, Alcorn State grad. Ben Burkett and this farmer, Terry Price, slaughtering cows is not an easy thing anymore. A lot of slaughterhouses are going away. So these farmers drove this cow up to the slaughtering facility, and then they went and picked the cow up, and then they drove it back to New Orleans.
Watch my cow, man.
Oh, I see it. What y'all got going out here, chef?
Just stuffing now, man, with fat, and this Holy Trinity or Mariposa, whatever you want to call them.
Okay. Chichoya, Holy Trinity. That's what it's called. There you go.
Yeah, you know.
Damn.
Pick your poison.
Somebody asked me, Dr. Conyers, you should be using a thermometer at this stage in your cooking process. You have the education, but I said, I don't know, for as far as cooking pit cook barbecue as I've been taught, I don't know that. And so I went with what I knew. See if I pass your test. I pass your test? Your cooking school? Mr. Harrison, Conyers Cooking School.
Line, go.
Oh man, don't give it to me because I'm your son. You gotta tell him I gotta earn it. And what I have trained over the past 5 years of cooking, I mean, I've been cooking my whole life, but I've been cooking in different experiences. I've cooked in the ground, I have cooked on cinder blocks, and I wanted America to see somebody cook a whole cow. I mean, in this style. I don't think America has seen anybody cook a whole cow in this manner. And it's not just about cooking, it's also about engineering. Because to have an apparatus to handle this cow and manage this cow is an engineering feat along with cooking. Cooking on a refrigerated pit is how I learned how to cook whole hog barbecue in South Carolina. That was my first childhood memory of a pit. I converted a refrigerator some time ago in New Orleans to show that I could cook any meat on a refrigerator. I knew I could do it, but the rest of the public didn't know that. We cooked sweet potatoes, my family's sweet potatoes out of South Carolina. They've been growing my father been growing for like 40 years. I made a mop because people didn't have a cotton mop to like they mop floors with. So my father told me people would take a clean t-shirt and they would wrap it around a stick. We would cut it up into shreds so you could actually replicate a cotton mop. And we used that to apply the sauce during the seasoning process. So you'll see guys dipping into a bucket and you dip the mop in there. And that's a very common technique in the Old South. It's an efficiency thing. You don't have to bend down, break your back to mop the animal. And I wanted to do something big to represent the Tricentennial, but also look at Louisiana and look at the South integrated, where we put a lot of focus on our food items, on what came through New Orleans and came through Louisiana. But when you think about how the country grew at that time, people from South Carolina came to New Orleans, people from Haiti came to New Orleans, people from the upper South came to New Orleans, like Virginia area came to New Orleans to go up to the Mississippi Delta. So you have all those different cultures coming in. You got people from the West Indies coming in New Orleans, people coming from Africa. From the Gullah culture, we looked at okra soup, and that's a common dish you will find it all over the South. And that was prepared by B.J. Dennis. Louisiana culture, I wanted to look at something that was kind of new and old, yakamine. Yakamine is a beef broth soup with noodles. And that is a classic dish in New Orleans, and the best person I knew to make this dish was Miss Linda Green, who is the yakamine queen. We had char-grilled oysters. Chris Hayes is one of the best oyster people I know in the city.
Look at that technique. Look at that technique. I see you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So char-grilled oysters are basically oysters on the half shell, but you grill them and you have like Parmesan cheese, butter, garlic. We had Serena Johnson make jambalaya. Jambalaya is a common Louisiana dish. You have perlo rice. You can almost say it's like a jambalaya in a way. It's a rice and a meat dish. We had a dish called soup jumu, which was a Haitian dish. After the Haitian Revolution, they made this dish, and that dish was a dish they have every year to honor that particular event. Todd Richards made corn machu. Corn, bell pepper, garlic, that's good. We had Creole sausage. Vance Brookesson, Brookesson Sausage Company, is one of two original Creole butchers in the city of New Orleans. His family, in particular, has been making sausage in New Orleans since 1899. Oh, the dessert table. Jeez, the dessert table is like it's beyond eating at grandma's house. The dessert table that was presented by Adrienne Lipscomb and E. Williams and her friends was like a church homecoming celebration. They had everything. They had pound cake, tea cakes, sweet potato pie, cornmeal cake. They had a variety of cakes. You couldn't see that many cakes and pies in your own house. Sharing a meal together is like that's the best way to learn about one another and appreciate one another and to kind of just connect and form new bonds or old bonds and think about the past, think about your family. Everybody sit down and break bread together. It should be a good time when you celebrate. That's another thing that's unique to New Orleans. So we had Creole Osceolas. And I wanted people to see the ornate labor of love that goes into these soups that these people make in the community of New Orleans, and they make these every year. This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.